some out of my presentation is already explained, was already explained in the morning session. It is about the European technical assessment. We heard from our previous speakers that this is the alternative route to come to the CE marking if there is no harmonized standard existing. And it is a voluntary route. I heard that there are still some discussions if there is a European assessment document existing, that to make this then also maybe mandatory, but until now it is voluntary in use. That means if there is a European assessment document or the former ETAG, European Technical Assessment Guideline, then you can go for the CE marking, and if there is no European assessment document, there must be some worked out before. So that means if we have normally we have that route through the harmonized standard to go to the declaration of performance and CE marking, and we can also, if there is no harmonized standard existing, we can go the route through the European technical assessment through the ETA. There are already lots of ETAs existing under the old scheme of the Construction Products Directive. So companies used that way where is no harmonized standard. But I think for the small companies it might be a bit expensive to go that way if there is no European assessment document existing. So the European technical assessment, there are definitions in the directive. It means a documented assessment of the performance of a construction product in relation to its essential characteristics in accordance with the respective European assessment document. So that means there must be a document existing before issuing an ETA. The document is also defined, so there is a technical assessment body in each member state existing. We will come to the procedure afterwards. And we have on a European level, we have the European Organization for Technical Assessment, the EOTA, which is then designating the bodies, but also then at the end, let's say, finally deciding on the European assessment documents. The valid area, it's clear. We are in the 28 member states and in the European Economic Area, as well as in Switzerland. Switzerland is not part of the economic area, but here in that scheme it is included. The ETA is the basis for the declaration of performance. So that means if there is an ETA issued, so there's the same procedure as under a harmonized standard. You find that that technical assessment bodies also in the NANDO database I showed you yesterday. They are all the bodies are inside for each country, one. And as I also recognize that Turkey is included here. That means also in Turkey there's a technical assessment body. There's everything working also in Turkey already in that scheme. If you look at the procedure for an ETA, first you have a request of a manufacturer. That means there must somebody with an innovative product, with a new product, or with a product under already existing assessment document, requesting an ETA, and then the technical assessment body, in Germany it's the Construction Institute in Berlin, they are checking if the product is covered by a harmonized technical specification, means if there is a harmonized standard or a European assessment document. If there is a harmonized standard, there is no ETA, that's clear. If we have an assessment document, then the manufacturer has to deliver its technical file, and then the ETA is drafted and it can be issued later on. And the very right one, it's not very good to read. If there is not really an European assessment document, or which is not really covered by the document, then the manufacturer is asking for a development of such an assessment document, and we have then at the end also the ETA issued. If we look at a bit more complicated scheme, because this first thing was very easy to follow, the others is a bit more difficult, because you see at certain points also the OTA working groups are involved, and although the Commission is involved for comment if a new ETA, a new European assessment document is worked out. There are the different product areas, only for you to know. There are, I think, 12 product areas for all these different schemes. You see in the civil engineering area, prefabricated buildings and building systems, load-bearing components like concrete, steel, and so on, building. Envelope means roofs or facades, doors, windows, what we talked about, and so on. There are already existing documents, the so-called European Technical Assessment Guidelines. According to these, there is still also a European technical approval are allowed manufacturers are allowed to request, according also to the existing papers, the ETA. If you look in such a paper, as I said before, there is no European assessment document at the moment existing, and no ETA issued after the new regulation was in force. So since 5 months we have no ETA issued. But if you look, there are the old ETAs. That's why I wanted to show you how it looks like. And if you look into the ETA, we had not the time for it, but if you look into such a guidance document, you find the same structure as we saw in the harmonized standards. So it's, except maybe the Annex ZA, which is here not in that papers. Yeah, and if it's published, you see this is one of the last ones, 27th of June. It is on such a timber frame building kit, so it's for such kind of houses made from timber. This is then the published thing. So this is a Belgian company who applied for that ETA and got then the ETA according to this former guideline. Yeah, there are also ETAs without guideline. That means somebody applied for it, but there was no guideline. As before, there was not developed a new document, I think, but now under the new scheme, they have to develop a European assessment document before they can issue such an ETA without guideline. We talked about these systems. We tried in our fact sheet what we made on construction products directive. We tried, like under the old scheme, to look for what is necessary under these different systems. You remember in the standard or also in the guidance document now, or in the assessment document, you have mentioned the system, yeah, and it is normally also explained in the standard what is under that system to do. But to have an overview a bit, so we tried it. I don't know if it's really everything correct, but I saw in the French guide there's something similar. You see under system 1, for example, we had this. The manufacturer has to look for his factory production control. He has to test the samples also, and the notified body has a role then to determine the product type, to do an initial inspection of the factory production control, to do the regular auditing or the continuous surveillance, I think is the right name in English, continuous surveillance of the factory production control, and also the assessment and verification of consistency of performance. So you see, it's only to visualize a bit what are the obligations if you are under a certain system. If you want to get an ETA, if a company wants to get an ETA, they have to send an application. This is the application form the Germans are using. It's on the website of the German Technical Assessment Body. Fortunately also in English, not only in German. And you see, you have to put here the applicant, the manufacturer, or his authorized representative, or both, and then the type of the construction product. It's clear. The trade name, the description of the product, and then it is depending what is existing, under which case you are here. If there is a European assessment document, then you give a reference number and everything is fine. If not, then you have to take the other cases. And finally, you need to add some documents. The manufacturer has to add some documents for a complete application. A technical file must be added, and when it is submitted, and also the manufacturing plants must be indicated. Where is the manufacturing plant? And last but not least, a formal declaration of the applicant, and that's it. The European technical assessments, the costs are from 2,500 to 50,000. This is out of the price regulation of the Germans. I don't know how it is in France or in Spain, or it might be similar. You know, if there is an assessment document, it might be lower. If there is not yet an assessment document existing, it might be somewhere here. Yeah. So you can see if you are a small and medium-sized enterprise, can be expensive to go for such a assessment without guidelines. The ETAs are still valid. The ETAs issued before before 30th of or until 30th of June, they are still valid. There is, I don't know, this time of ETA will disappear from the market throughout the year 2018, means in the year 2018 these ETAs will run out. And from 1st of July they should issue the new ETAs under the new assessment documents, which is now maybe from tomorrow on or from yesterday on working. Okay, more information you can find on the EOTA website. This is, you can go there, you have all the ETAC guidelines, for example, there, and maybe later on all the assessment documents. You have all the issued ETAs, all the companies, you can have all the information which is already there. It helps sometimes if you have a company who wants to go for such a thing, that you go in and you search first what is already there. Is there already a European assessment document, which is a new name, because the European assessment documents are not in the standardization databases. And this is what we are normally using, standardization database, a PeriNorm, and then you search through and you try to find out the right standards. But these documents are not there, so if you go to look for standards for the construction products, you always have also to have a look in the European assessment documents. Thank you very much. That's all.